So the our devotional this morning again starts the way it always does, with a prayer. O Lord, let my soul rise up to meet you. And we are in the now Easter season. Yesterday is the first day of the Easter season of the church, and so I just thought it was interesting. The It stuck out to me more this morning than it does often, this idea of our soul rising up to meet God. And for me, it was this reminder that in this season of acknowledging and celebrating the resurrection, that my hope would be that today my life, my day, would be shaped by the resurrection. That the liturgy of my day, that sort of um, shows how I love, what I love, who I love, that would be an opportunity to bear witness to the resurrected King that we celebrated yesterday. Um, and so in Psalm 68, it continues. It says, "Sing to God, exalt Him who rides upon the heavens." And then it continues in another excerpt. It says, "Father of orphans, defender of widows, God in His holy habitation." And I think it's this interesting balance that we find ourselves in, that uh, to have our lives shaped by the resurrection of Jesus is to have our lives shaped by the living God, who is known both for His transcendence, in the sense that he rides in the heavens, and He is the creator of the cosmos and the sun and the moon and the stars, and yet uh, God is also known for His immanence. He is Emmanuel. He is God with us, the God who enters into the story of His creation in order to redeem it. And again, we celebrated that yesterday on Easter, and we'll celebrate that in this season of Easter. And that He is not only riding upon the heavens, but He is the father of orphans. He is the defender of widows. He is, in other words, He is the one who not just creates in this kind of majestic sort of a way, but God is also the one who shows up and is the one um, uh, fulfilling the needs of the most needy. Um, so I think right now in the um, as God is the one who is the father of orphans, the defender of widows, I think of people in the midst, in the throes of this pandemic, who are suffering from COVID-19, whether firsthand and whether they have the disease, or suffering as they treat those with the disease, and first responders, and um, or people suffering economically, as maybe they're out of work, or um, people suffering from mental illness, being uh, wrestling with the isolation. You think of kids who don't have the support structures of school right now, that are maybe thrust back into unhealthy environments, and we get to celebrate that, that God is the one who not just holds earth in the palm of His hands, but God is the one who um, declares that He is made known, that His glory is celebrated to the extent that He is alongside those in great need. So I think of, how does that affect my day today? That as I'm wanting to have a life shaped by His resurrection, that I can pay attention to how God might be present in the midst of those in need, and how as a church, as a follower of that God, as I pay attention to how He might be active and moving, I can look for Him in those places, and seek to participate with Him in those places. And So that's just sort of one thought that I had, that's sort of something that can guide our daily living today. look for God in the places, not just in the, so for us, our rhythm with the kids, me and the kids each day is we'll get outside, because we have to, and we'll usually go down to the beach, and then down at the beach, I'm overcome by this like transcendent nature of God, the creator of Carmel Beach, and it's breathtaking, but I also need to be aware of the need to look for him in those places of need, and I think right now in our situation, I've got the kids, and I can't really physically be in those places of need of seeing how he's at work and alongside defending the orphan or defending the widow, and being the father to the orphan, but I can champion and encourage and support those who are able to be on the front lines of this. And so that's, I think, something just for me to consider. And so we have this beautiful quote of Julian of Norwich, which I think is a good reminder of this God who resurrected from the dead and invites us to a life of resurrected living, of finding new life in him, and that new life is shaped by understanding who he is and where he is and how he's at work, and the purpose of all of it is this phenomenal quote from Julian of Norwich, who, again, as a reminder, this is a woman who right now the concept of the epicenter of a pandemic is a very relevant concept for us right now. And Julian of Norwich was arguably at the epicenter of the Black Death, the bubonic plague, back in the, I think it was 15th century, 15th, 14th century. And she was in Norwich, which was in the East Anglia, which was the hardest hit region in England, and England was probably the hardest hit country region of that time. And so she's at the epicenter of this Black Death plague, and she's most known for her writings of hope in the midst of just unspeakable hardship and challenge. And so as we think about the God who rises, who invites us to that resurrected living, and we see that he demonstrates his glory and his resurrected living by being the God who is riding in the heavens, the God who is alongside the needy. All of this is for the purpose of love. And so she writes, do you wish to know your Lord's meaning in this living, in this thing? Know it well. Love was his meaning. Who reveals it to you? Love. What did he reveal to you? Love. Why does he reveal it to you? For love. Remain in this, and you will know more of the same. So this morning, may we remain in the God who not only does things for love, but the God who is love himself, and is riding in the heavens, and is at the bedside of those in desperate need of him this morning. Amen. Amen. So again, our prayer calendar today on April 13th, Dominique Gilliard on this prayer calendar that we're following together as a church invites us today to pray for teachers, to find innovative ways to teach, to connect with and educate their students. So I hope you'll join us in praying for educators today, and teachers in particular, that they would find the creative ways to love and support and encourage and teach and bless the children in our midst. So I invite you to do that today.